Hello, I'm Christina and welcome back to Yoga with Christina. Today I will be sharing some tips on how to practice yoga while you're pregnant. Just some things that you should avoid, some things that are recommended to do, and things that I learned basically in my yoga teacher training and speaking to doctors and in my own experience as a pregnant person. First and foremost, this video is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Please consult your doctor before implementing any new exercise into your daily life, basically. Always consult your doctor. This is not meant to replace any kind of medical advice, and I am not a doctor, so please consult your doctor before doing any of the things that I recommend in this video. I'm currently 22 weeks pregnant. The yoga for pregnancy videos will be coming either while I'm pregnant or after I have the baby. I don't know yet when I'll be able to film them or when I will be filming them. Definitely stay tuned and subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss out on any upcoming videos. Also, if you want to learn more about pregnancy or my pregnancy, I'm sharing some of that on my vlog channel, my other channel, so go ahead and check that out as well. If you are a pregnant person or looking to get pregnant and you're interested in that type of content as well, I'll leave that linked in the description box below. The first tip I want to share with you on how to practice yoga while you're pregnant. You need to judge it based off of how you lived your life and what you were doing before you were pregnant. So especially in the first trimester, the baby is really small and it's really tucked away in there, hidden behind a lot of layers of skin, organs, uterus, amniotic fluid. Just it's really tucked in there. So I'm not saying go crazy. If you were a runner before getting pregnant, it's likely you'll be able to run as well while you're pregnant and keep doing what you were doing before you were pregnant. I've seen, I would not recommend this at all, but I've even seen people who were CrossFit, like weightlifters, and they did that throughout their entire pregnancy and went on to have healthy children. It just depends on your personal level. On the other spectrum of that, the other end of the spectrum, if you've done absolutely nothing and you're just live a very sedentary life and you don't exercise at all, I would not recommend just jumping into training for a marathon while you're pregnant, regardless of how you're feeling. If you're feeling great throughout your pregnancy, that's wonderful. But basically, you can't introduce anything new that your body isn't used to while you're pregnant. Your body is doing something completely new and something very difficult, and you need to give yourself some grace. So yes, first and foremost, judge what you can do while you're pregnant based on how you lived your life and what type of exercise that you were doing before you were pregnant. The number 2 thing I want to share with you is don't ever push yourself too far. For me, I've always been the type to want to push myself further than comfortable, to challenge yourself. Push your limits, I guess, to get stronger and better, to get the deeper stretch, to hold the pose for longer, to get stronger, to lift a heavier weight, to run a little bit farther, things like that. While you're pregnant, as I mentioned in the previous tip, you don't want to push yourself too far because your body is doing something completely new. If this is your first pregnancy, your body is doing something completely new and challenging. Your body is doing something, it's basically working to create another living person. Give yourself a lot of extra care, be extra kind to your body, more so than ever before. So don't push yourself too far. This is not the time to get that deeper stretch or run that extra mile or lift a little bit heavier of a weight. It's not that time in your life. This is the time where you need to take care of your body more than ever before because it is creating your child, or a child. While I was trained as a dancer to do so personally, it's not the best for you to always push yourself past your limits. You could cause injury, just harm to yourself. So I always say be gentle and kind to your body, but this is especially the right time to do so. If there's any time to be kind to yourself and to not push yourself too far, while you're pregnant is that time. So very important tip. So here's my list of movements that you should avoid while you're pregnant. Even in your first trimester, it is very important to not lift extra heavy things. This may be common knowledge, but it may not be. So I just thought I'd throw it in there. In yoga, you're not lifting things. It's not you're not lifting anything heavier than your body weight. But even when you're doing body weight exercises, that can almost be too much sometimes. So you just need to be careful with anything like that. I would personally avoid any kind of lifting or any weight lifting where you're straining your core to lift. I would avoid inversions, so going upside down. Downward dog is all right in your first trimester, probably throughout the pregnancy if you're used to doing downward dog all the time. But inversions like handstands, headstands, forearm stands, any kind of inversion, unless your body is very, very used to doing those things. But perhaps you're a circus performer or you're a yoga teacher and you just do inversions every day and then you get pregnant. Your body's going to be used to that. I had a friend in my yoga teacher training and she was, I think, late in her second trimester while she was doing the training, and she was doing handstands every single day and keeping up with us like a champ. And I was just so in awe of her that she was able to do that, and she had a healthy baby. So yes, I keep repeating myself, but if you've been doing the inversions before you were pregnant, then it's likely you'll be able to do them while you're pregnant. But if you're just starting out with inversions and you want to try doing a handstand in your yoga practice, while you're pregnant is likely not the time to start practicing those inversions. Another thing to avoid while pregnant is deep twisting or twisting in general. That's like cross-body twisting. Open twisting is a different story, so where you're not kind of like wringing your body in opposite directions, so where your upper body is going in the same direction as your lower body. So it's not technically a twist, but they call it an open twist. This is probably more so for your second and third trimester, although you do want to be careful always in your first trimester as well to not deeply twist too much. It's just your body is changing down there and you just don't want to push yourself, as I said. I tried to twist a little bit recently. I'm into my second trimester now. It didn't feel good. I'll tell you that. The twisting did not feel good. So even if I was just like reaching for something, cross-body reaching. This is another one that you should especially be careful with in your second and third trimesters. Late second trimester and definitely third trimester is lying flat on your back. So I would avoid shavasana unless you are inclined. So you can have yourself propped up on a bolster and yoga blocks so your upper body is at a slant. You're not even supposed to lay on your back while you're sleeping. Apparently, the weight of the uterus is pressing on a certain vein in your back and your pelvis, and that vein, if it's compressed, you cut off blood supply and to yourself and also to the baby. So it could cause you mainly with dizziness and nausea and just lightheadedness and things like that. Just outside of the exercise yoga realm, if you are sleeping and you wake up on your back, don't panic about that. That's at least what I've been told. You and your baby are fine. It's just you waking up, I guess, is a signal for you to turn over onto your side and fall back to sleep. So you don't want to be there for long periods of time. You don't want to lay in shavasana, for instance, for a long meditation flat on your back. It's healthiest for you and your baby to lay in an incline or on your sides. You want to avoid too much abdominal work, especially in your second and third trimesters. You do want to practice some core work. It's healthy for you to maintain the strength in your core, especially for labor and pushing and things like that. However, there is a thing called diastasis recti, I think. It's basically your belly grows and your abdominals separate. The severity of the separation is different on everybody. When you work your abdominal muscles, they get tighter, they get stronger, but they also get tighter. You want to create space for the baby to grow throughout the pregnancy. You don't want your abdominal muscles to, I guess, be restricted from being able to stretch. And I think the less that you work those abdominal muscles, the more, I guess, lenient and stretchy they will be, so the less severe of a tear and separation you might get. Again, consult your doctor, speak to them about this, see what they have to say. But for me, I'm not really working on, I guess, especially the upper abdominals. I guess the obliques are fine, the back muscles, the pelvic floor, absolutely, you should work on those. But the upper abdominals, I'm keeping that to a minimum. Also, when you're getting up, you want to avoid just sitting straight up. That also works that area, and it's a lot safer. It's a lot safer for your back in general, even if you're not pregnant, to roll to your side and then press yourself to get up. So even when you're in bed, when you're exercising on the ground, things like that, if you're lying down, it's always safer to roll to your side and press yourself up. So yeah, especially when you're pregnant, it's safer to do that as well. I'll speak a little bit about this in my what is recommended section of this video, but in general, you can do cardio. However, you want to avoid cardio that makes you so out of breath that you can't talk while you're moving. So if you're like, doing a little bit of cardio, getting your heart rate up, that's fine. But if your heart rate is so fast that you can't even talk and catch your breath, that's generally not recommended. You want your breathing to remain steady. You want your heart rate to remain steady. Pregnancy creates a lot of strain on your heart, a lot more strain on your heart than you would imagine. So extreme cardio, things where you're just hyperventilating to the point where you can't catch your breath and speak to somebody, is not a good idea while you're pregnant. Along those lines, you want to avoid getting overheated. That's why, especially in your first trimester, they say you can't take baths or go in hot tubs or things like that. Anything that brings your body temperature above the normal range, you want to avoid, especially heating that belly area, your abdominal midsection area. You want to avoid overheating that especially. But any kind of exercise, so a vinyasa class or any other exercise that makes you too warm, too hot, you want to avoid doing that. Just a couple things I didn't mention while I was filming. Laying on your stomach, starting from the late trimester, it will likely get uncomfortable. So once it gets uncomfortable, they say to avoid it, obviously, which brings me into my next point, which is if any movement begins to feel uncomfortable or begins to hurt at all, even if that movement is deemed as safe to do during pregnancy, if it hurts you, if it is uncomfortable to you personally, stop the movement immediately and move into a different position. And then, of course, bring it up with your doctor. You should also avoid any kind of breath retention or holding the breath, such as you might do in certain pranayama exercises or yogic breathing exercises. You'll want to avoid any of that. So steady breathing throughout the pregnancy is always recommended. Okay, so I gave you all the things that you shouldn't be doing while you're pregnant. Now I'm going to share all the things that are good for you to do. So gentle stretching. Gentle stretching is great. Now there is that hormone, relaxin, that flows more throughout your body when you are pregnant and is sent to your ligaments to help, I guess, with the expansion of your body and labor and getting that baby through the birth canal at some point at the end of the pregnancy. So that could potentially make you a bit more flexible than you were. It might not be that extreme. It might not even be noticeable, but the relaxin might make you feel a bit more flexible and stretch a little bit deeper than you were before. And you don't want to, it's the same thing with hot yoga. You don't want to, your muscles might feel more stretchy because they're being heated up so fast in hot yoga. So you might think that you could stretch further than you actually are able to, and it could cause muscle tears, injuries. It's not safe to overstretch. So that's why I say gentle stretching, especially when you're pregnant. Gentle stretching is a great idea to prepare your body for labor, to relax you. Pregnancy insomnia is a thing. You get a lot of back pain when you're pregnant. You get a lot of hip pain when you're pregnant. So gentle stretching is a great way to combat that and alleviate some of those aches and pains that we get. And as I mentioned briefly before, light cardio is great as well. So this isn't yoga related, but walking is a great thing to do while you're pregnant. Brisk walking is good. If you're not a runner, I wouldn't go into like a jog or anything, but walking fairly long distances, but not to the point where you're exhausting yourself. That is something that is a great thing to do while you're pregnant. You want to keep your heart moving, but you don't want to exhaust yourself. Light cardio is good, helps to prepare your body for labor, helps to keep your heart healthy, but nothing too strenuous. I may have missed some things, but that's all I have on my list right now. As I said at the beginning of the video, I want to reiterate, please consult your doctor. This video should not be a replacement, or is not a replacement for medical advice. Go to your doctor, ask them what they think is appropriate for you to be doing while you're pregnant at all stages of your pregnancy. It's very important to consult your doctor. So I hope that you found this video helpful. Thank you so much for watching. Please like this video, it really helps the channel to grow. Please subscribe to this channel. You can follow me over on Instagram at ChriskaYoga. So yeah, thank you again, and I will see you next time.